Good morning. Welcome to Daily Dose. I'm Dr. Lazar, and I'm so excited that you are just on this journey with me. It's been a really, really cool year so far. We started Daily Dose in January of this year as a tool to offer hope and spread good news while the rest of the world seems like it's falling down. And we did not know that nobody knew what was going to happen this year, but certainly it did. And so I want to share something I've been really reluctant to share this week. Our conversation has been about but God. So I'm going to put the hashtag but God here, and things are happening because he's allowing them to. What I mean by that is the things that are happening we wouldn't have expected in a good way are things that God is doing. And so I want to just acknowledge that where I can. And so that's been the focus of our Daily Dose episodes this week. So COVID-19, big pandemic, big economic uproar. Carrie and I had prayed very intentionally the end of 2019 about some pretty lofty financial goals we had. And we felt like God was leading us in that direction, and it kind of would require a change in lifestyle and things, but we really felt like that was where God was kind of stirring our hearts. And so we committed to that, but we knew we could only commit to it if we asked for God's help and if he delivered, because it's not something that we could do on our own. Well, by Carrie's direction, she needs to certainly get credit for that. The prayer that we had was that we would start reaching these goals way in the future. We thought it would be way down the road in the future. And the words specifically that we prayed were that it would be unmistakably God. So I'm going to put that in the chat because I think, I don't even know if I know how to spell unmistakably. Don't tell anybody. All right, we're going to give that a shot. All right, so unmistakably God. That was our prayer, that it would be unmistakably God. We unequivocally, we couldn't, take any credit for it. Well, enter 2020, and the first week of 2020, I lost my mom and best friend on the same day. They both died the same day. They were going through hospice at the same time. They both literally died 15 minutes apart. Kind of a big hit. Dealing with some travel that got postponed, and then that ended up having some issues. And we literally were on a cruise as a family as the ship was coming back into port. The night it was coming back into Florida, said, "This is our last cruise. We're suspending operations for 30 days." I mean, we just got back, for the COVID stuff at the end of middle March. Then all the COVID stuff happened. And in April, the end of March, our business was ordered to cease operations. We had to stop taking care of patients unless it was on an emergency basis. Well, we're a family wellness practice, so there aren't a whole lot of emergencies in a family wellness practice. And by design, we've taught people to invest in their health and invest in their immune system function so they don't get caught, so they don't get sick. Well, it's working really well till the governor says you can only see people on an emergency basis. So literally the month of April this year, our business was down 85%. And the only reason we had those 15% of collections was because there were some emergencies that came in. So you take that, this is probably not the year we're going to start seeing any progress toward our goals, yet our financial goals, yet we started reaching those financial goals. And it wasn't because our business provided any money. We went quite a bit of time without pay because there was no money coming in, yet our savings grew, our investments grew. And when we look at those numbers, it is unmistakably God. And so I want to share that with you. I want to encourage you that God is bigger than our circumstances. If you don't believe that, just borrow my belief for a moment. Suspend your disbelief. Let that go for just a little bit and join me in being able to express the wins and the blessings that are only but God. Darren Whitehead pastors a church in Franklin, Tennessee. Actually, they have several campuses, but it's Church of the City. And when we were visiting there last weekend, he shared the story of Abraham and Isaac, how Abraham had marched up the mountain and he knew that he was to sacrifice his son Isaac, which I can't imagine and you can't imagine. That's just an unthinkable, it's just unthinkable. And so he was doing that. And if you know the story, you know that it was that a ram showed up right at the last moment and he was able to sacrifice the ram. Now, in Old Testament law, blood had to be shed to atone or pay for sin. And so that was what that was how you could pay that, how you could rectify that situation. And so it's an unthinkable experience, I would imagine, to have to plan on sacrificing your son. Well, the reality is that the ram showed up and Abraham was able to sacrifice the ram. But here was the story, and Darren did such a great job explaining this, that way in advance, way before they started climbing up the mountain, way before they got to the place for the sacrifice, way before he tied Isaac up on the altar to sacrifice him, way before that, God had already sent the ram. And there was an animation they made where Abraham and Isaac were walking up this side of the hill and the ram was walking up this side of the hill. God already had sent the ram. The ram is already coming. And so I want that to be your encouragement today. The ram is already coming. It may not look like it. It may not feel like it. In fact, it may look like the opposite. It may look like things are falling apart. And for many of us, things are falling apart. But the ram is already coming. God has already sent the ram. So I would just encourage you today, share your But God wins on here. And if you like the videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, join us on our Facebook Lives like this, and share some more wins that you have. I'm Dr. Lazar. I'll be back on Monday with another daily dose with Dr. Lazar. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend. And share your hashtag But God stories so that we can all